Okay, the stream is live. Zill, are you introing it?
Sure.
Whenever you're
What,
ready,
what
bud.
episode number are we on?
236.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. I am your host this evening, Kill Zill, here with my friend Astros BK and Tycho Tumpard. Tump Daddy. How you doing, guys?
We're your friends? Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think so.
Tump Daddy. I don't know how I
Tump
feel
Daddy.
about that, to be honest.
It's better than Nutter Butter.
I thought that's what we settled on, was Tump Daddy.
Tump Daddy.
Well, I won't be calling him that, but you guys can call each other whatever you want.
That's how we're friends. So
It sounds like it's a little bit more than friends, but
it could be. Holding out hope.
Yeah, man. I'm Tump Daddy.
I already want to get off this podcast. Help me.
Oh my god.
This is our alone time, man. You're interrupting us.
I was here first.
All right. This is actually true.
Yeah, well, it's been a while since I've been on this podcast, man. I've been so busy. Finally graduated college.
I liked it a lot better when you weren't here, to be honest.
I know you were going to say that, so I
That's why
I
they're
was
not
preparing myself to
friends.
hear that. Now I'm
Um,
back. You can't get rid of me.
so you graduated? Congratulations.
Finally graduated college. I'm an adult now. I got a couple weeks off, and I'm going to start my job. So I haven't had a lot of time playing League, but I'm using these 5 weeks to take that
It's like
I-
climb
to
to
take
diamond.
that road.
I
from
love
plat
how he
four to
says that he doesn't play a lot of League. He literally has like over twice as many games as me.
Shh.
He has almost
Not a League
4
big
times as many games as me.
How many games do you have?
I have like 100 on my main.
What
How
about
many
your
do you have, Tycho?
Smurf? I have no idea. I
On
don't
my
think it-
Smurf, he has almost 400.
Jesus.
On my Smurf, I have 60, so you still have like 2.5 times as many games as me, roughly.
Well, that's how it be though.
Yeah, I have under 100
That's how it
games.
be, though.
That's how it be though. It's a for fun region, so I just play for fun, dude. Don't you know that?
Yeah. If you want Elo, I can play with you on my second account by now.
Wow, really, man?
Yeah. I caught up. Didn't take much.
So what have
Wait.
you been doing? You've been playing League at all, Astros?
This week I've been really busy, and like I was playing a little before that. I hit plateau, and then like once I hit plateau, I went like 1-9, and I was like, nah, all right, well, or 2-9. I was like, all right, back to the other account. So the other account's gold one. I'm just gonna put it into plat and spam games on it.
How many games do you have on the other account?
I'm 41-22, so 63.
Okay.
69% win rate on Akali. It's pretty lit.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
hate you already.
well, most people do. It's all right.
That's fair.
How
Yeah.
about you, Zill? How's the good old league?
I'm having fun again. I started playing a little bit more, which has been good. I only get to play on Tuesdays, which is still very like little for me, but I at least like try and get in like 3 or 4 games of ranked, sometimes as many as 6. So that feels good. And then of course I get to play community games and stuff like that, but I usually only play 1 or 2.
Mhm.
You played more than me this week, so congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with League right now. Like, I think in general, like things are still really interesting. The meta is not overly toxic one way or another for me. The Runic Echoes buff was really nice. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm experimenting, not taking Flash anymore. It's worked out in 4 games, 4 out of 4. So I've
What
had.
what are you taking, said?
I take TP Smite.
Oh, TP Smite in the mid lane?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I remember that meta.
Really?
I don't. I don't remember any meta where you weren't taking Flash.
I don't either. And it's probably going to be not. I'm not going to do this into every matchup, but I like doing it when I can. So, and
I think-
it's worked out so far every time.
I think it'll really depend on what jungler you're playing against. Because
Yeah.
if I see a lane with no Flash, I'm literally just gonna sit there.
Yeah. I mean, it allows me to play more like a bitch than I already do.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, I guess it works for your passive playstyle.
yeah, so I will just continue to shove through lane phase and stay in lane longer. And I found that it keeps me stronger, and so I end up actually not getting dove and not dying as often. But I feel like versus a LeBlanc or something like that, it might be a bad idea. But I only got a sample size of 4 games, so we'll see.
I mean, if we do small sample sizes, I have a 100% win rate on Rise. I went 1-7-8, but I haven't lost on it yet. So,
Oh, okay. Well, I had perfect KDA 2 games in a row, so
I'm just not a
Ooh,
KDA player, all right?
he's a team
I'm
player.
I'm a bitch, man. I play safe as I can. So
All right, so I'm not gonna expend the duo offer to you. I would like if my immobile mid laner had flash.
okay.
I'm
I mean,
sorry,
I'm gonna be
buddy.
playing support whenever I play with you. I think so. I will take flash in that case.
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't.
so I can flash away and leave my ADC to die. What do you think? I'm a monster.
You mean you're gonna flash in so you can ult me as I dive, right?
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a good idea.
Just
Never
throwing
thought
me
of
to the
using it
wolves.
offensively.
Throwing me to the wolves. Unlucky.
Pretty much.
So, what do you guys want to talk about this week?
Well, what do we have? We have a new
Do you want to
champion.
do yeah? Do we want to start with that so you guys can kind of have your conversation because I haven't played. I just know that the champion design is really poor from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah,
Fine.
you
Yes.
play as the shopkeep and you don't leave fountain. You just sell items to champions for money.
So, wait, Zill, have you played it? You have not played this champion.
I have not played this champion, but considering how little interaction is involved in playing this champion, from what I've seen, I will most definitely be playing this champion. I can't wait.
I think. Well, you're just gonna attach to somebody. You're gonna go AFK and go like make a snack.
Yeah, actually, I'll go do
See.
laundry and like figure out my life, and then hopefully get a free win.
First, okay, so I have played with it, like not myself, like had it on my team, and I played against it. Every single time, I've never felt their impact in the game at all. It's just,
Nope.
it's 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 like I know my teammates there, but every fight is a 4v5 unless they get a nice ult off, and that's it. The Q has no damage whatsoever. And I don't know what do they give you? They give you like she gives you AD or adaptive force, right? Adaptive damage, which
Something
is
like that.
yeah, and it's like I don't know, I just don't
It's
feel it.
about as effective as having your girlfriend come in and watch you play. Like she just kind of sits there, untargetable. Like you want to impress her, so you like try to do better, but like that's about all you're getting out
And
of
then
it.
and then she says like I'm bored, can I try something? And you let her press one button and say, here, press this now, and she presses it and she does good for the
Well, that was a
the 1 out of the
mistake.
10
I don't
try.
do that.
You
Yeah.
know, I haven't won a game since I got a girlfriend. I think they're bad luck.
Oh, it's Yumi before the hotfix.
I guess. Yo, wait, hold on. I've done that thing where like, I went into an ARAM where I was dating like one of the girls I used to play with, and I let her use the keyboard, and then I like controlled the mouse, and then I just yell at her what buttons to press. We lost, but
That can be fun. I
But
can
you
see
had
that.
fun and you
it
bonded.
was fun. I mean, I was stuck playing Aurelion Sol, and
Well, that's
it,
not, I
it
mean,
wasn't
just
fun.
Q.
Actually, Aurelion Soul that might work.
Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know what Aurelion Sol did.
I think it's just Q, it's just Q and W. It's literally
Yeah,
the only
there's
two
not a
things.
lot going on there.
It's
It's
more
it's
it's
about
more in
positioning.
your movements
It's
Yeah,
too much brain
exactly.
activity
Exactly.
for me.
Hmm.
All right,
um
you guys can go back to talking about Yumi now.
Yeah,
like
so okay, in all seriousness, I did play some games against Yumi. I played one ranked game against Yumi, and it was basically a free win. But not for Yumi. Um, they didn't do anything. They just kept darting in and out of their ADC. And occasionally the ultimate would come down like during a team fight or something, but I just like walked out of the way. I don't know. I didn't see a lot of like strategic outplay. I still like I've watched the champion spotlight. I don't quite like know all the abilities exactly, but they don't seem to do a lot. I'm not afraid when I see a Yumi inside of someone else.
all I know is her W is just go untargetable, pick a champion, they get the stats. I don't know what her E is. Her Q is like
The missile,
it's
right?
yeah, it's kind of like so it's kind of like a Zoe Q, but it's got to be within that circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when you're attached to somebody, that's the circle you see when you're not Yumi. So I guess it tells you this is the range. Try to get in range so I can hit somebody with a Q.
It's so slow, even though it's
Hmm.
controlled by them. It's really easy to dodge.
Yeah.
Um, and especially if you have any sort of movement abilities at all, I I don't think I got hit by the entire game. Maybe once in a bush or something. But yeah, it's there's not a lot going on there.
Yeah. What I don't understand is like, so she can't get hit unless it's by turrets, like when she's untargetable. But like, I want to know. What
Yeah.
I don't understand is if Yumi's attached to somebody and then all the minions die, who gets hit first, her or the champion she's attached to? Because it's like
That's a great question.
that's
I
what I
don't
don't know.
know. I would assume that Yumi doesn't take tower aggro unless Yumi attacks something.
Yeah. I gotta know. Like everyone, there was like a Reddit post saying like she has the lowest win rate of one day ever, and I'm like, it's the first day.
It was
Okay,
24% or something, I believe,
it's like 29. Like,
or 29. Yeah,
well,
it was it was
like every
abysmally low.
yeah, like every champ's gonna be dog shit for the
Yeah,
first
but not
week.
that dog shit. It's pretty. This is pretty bad. I think. Yeah,
Hmm. I don't know. I think like I feel no impact coming from that champion whatsoever. I forget that she's there, and that's like I don't know if that's how they wanted her to be because you can just go AFK and go do something else.
yeah.
But there needs to be there needs to be something changed.
I personally like the ult and I like the Q a lot. I think those are interesting abilities that are different that are not OP. I also think it's great that we have like kind of a beginner's champion again instead of like all this complex overloaded shit. Um, but it not having to control your movement is extremely weird to me. I don't know. I think I still need to kind of sit with that one.
She has a 34% win rate right now
Okay.
with a pick rate of 9%.
9.
Wow.
It's
See, I don't even know if it's like a beginner champion. I think it's literally like you don't even need a brain. Like this is literally like the
It's like a
this is
Sona that
gonna
doesn't have to move around. Yeah,
this is
it's
gonna
that
be
brain dead.
wrong, but it's like this is the typical e-girl champion where it's like oh, I don't even have to look at my screen anymore. Like this is the champ.
is this the new Janna?
This is it's easier than Janna.
Yeah,
It's easier
this
than
is not quite
Janna.
the same category as Janna.
It's easier than Nami. It's easier than Lulu. It's easier than Soraka. Probably not as impactful, but
This is true.
Like when I was because I'm reading her stats, it's like she gives them a percentage based on their stats, right? I'm thinking like I think this could be good, maybe Jin or like another or like a hyper carry
Hmm.
does
who can
really
kind of
good
like
on
solo
Vigar. You like break Vigar,
on Vigar.
Yeah, I've heard
Oh,
that.
but I mean that's more so relying on your Vigar actually getting
mhm.
ahead. It's not like
That's what this
Yuumi
champion is.
breaks Vigar
This
base.
champion is reliant on the other four members or whoever you're attached to. It's like
You need a hyper carry of some sort.
yeah. So I mean,
Cause
She's
like,
supposed to synergize well with bruisers, is what I was reading. Um,
mm, I
I
could see that, but like the adaptive damage in her passive doesn't really fit that because bruisers don't have a ton of damage stats. Usually their stats are base numbers.
mhm.
I do like how she can go with them, like if they TP or B. So I guess it's like it's like that Rakan Zaya
I don't
interaction a
like
little
that
bit.
at all, actually. I don't think it should be what the champion does.
You think it's too easy for the Yumi?
I literally think that you can not play the game and be completely fine. Like, because think about it, you attach yourself to a champion. The champion dies, you pop out. Yeah, you can jump to another champion, but it's like you're forcing your team to play 4v5 because your health bar as like a champion in League is a resource and it's a tool that you have because you
Yep.
don't die until you hit 0. So you're not body blocking anything, you're not absorbing damage, you're not absorbing pressure, you're not buying time. You're literally just glued to the hip of whatever champion you're.
Yeah, plus it piles all the movement mistakes of one champion directly into two, which is like very strange to me. Like I don't trust my teammates for a lot. I certainly don't want to trust them for moving my character around. That's just so strange. I don't know. I can't quite get over that.
I'm not. No bueno. Don't like it.
Yeah.
This is the new Elo boost champion. So if somebody wants a boost, just like you play Yumi, like attach yourself to a higher level player, and just like, hey, can you carry me for the next like 20 games? Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, this
And
is
just leave.
literally
Go
like
do something else.
this is the champion that all like the 80 carry guys will play, who is trying to like impress the Twitch streamer when he carries her through elos. Just play Yumi every game, and then he gets to flex his big muscles and big brain.
I don't know. Right now, this champion is it's there. Something impactful. It's just whatever. So I don't. Who knows? We'll see. Riot has a tendency to overbuff and then nerf to the ground again.
I mean,
So
I
we'll
don't think
see.
it's a number thing. I think it's
Yeah, I don't
just
think it's a
like
number thing either. I think it's a kit thing. We'll see where this goes.
Wasn't there a champion? I'm thinking the last 2 years that was like released, and then they got like a key ability changed within like the first 6 months. I'm thinking it was like a mid laner or something. I'm not too
I
sure.
mean, Echo got his R changed to actually cost mana. Was
That
it
was
a
one of the things I was
rework
thinking.
or a champion release?
I think it was a champion release, and then they got reworked within the like something got reworked within the first year. It
What you're
wasn't.
saying sounds familiar, but nothing comes to mind.
It's similar to like how Aatrox got his abilities like changed a
Yes,
little bit,
yeah,
like
it
the
was
new one. But I cannot put my finger on it. I think it was a mid laner.
Rise.
No, that's the.
Has that been happening since release?
Nico, Zoe, Talia, Asol,
Mm,
Echo, Azir. Those are your most recent mid laners.
I don't know, but I know there was a champion like they got released and one of their abilities got changed within the first year. I'm just like, so they
Ornn got
just
his W changed.
that might be the
That's
one.
it.
That might
That's
be
it.
that's the one.
He he didn't go in. That wasn't invulnerable.
It was unstoppable
Unstoppable.
with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shield, but now and then they
Then it was
removed
just
that.
the shield, and now now it's
It's
back
just
to
unstoppable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should be open to kit changes more so. I think
Mhm.
they don't want to do that because they want people to like understand the champion and rely on the champion having that kit and just tweak it. But yeah, I think in this case we might see that soon.
I mean, I don't think as long as they're not like reworking it. Even like the mini Ari rework that they called, I didn't even really call that like an Ari rework. It was like a kit adjustment thing, which
Yeah,
I think they could do the same thing with this. Change an ability or two, keep it similar, but maybe change the interaction.
hmm Something like Urgot. I like the one thing I liked about the Urgot change, like, was when they move his shield to his E. I thought that made more sense.
Yeah, it did make more sense.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see him do is like Yumi. Yumi isn't just a cat. Yumi has like this book. I'd be more okay with her passive like giving her book to an ally, and then you have to stay within like a range, kind of like Ori Ball, to where you buff them. I think you'd have to tone down how much buffing it actually does.
Oh, so
Just
you want the book to be the buff.
or however you want to do it, because I feel like it makes more sense to control a cat than it would to be control a book. But instead of like making it so Yumi becomes the champion or attaches itself um, to a champion, it's like kind of like the Ori ball where Yumi like puts her book on a champion and buffs him that way, and then she has to stay in like a radius.
So
Like
kind of like Lulu,
no,
yeah.
I,
I think it's like Lulu.
but
Lulu
except they
doesn't
gotta be
have a
putting-
radius. Once she casts E, she can run as far away. Like if Ori casts her ball, she has a certain radius before the ball comes back. I think it needs to be
Okay.
something like that.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
I
was thinking,
personally,
what's her
I don't-
passive? She gets mana back, right? Every so often, like something like that. I think
Uh,
something useless.
Is that,
I
isn't
was
that
like,
old Lysandra passive?
I don't
Let's
know.
see
I think she
what she
needs to
does.
take like, or it's not her W. I think her W needs to do something like that, where like you send something like I feel like you need to control your character at all points in the game. I don't feel
Mhm.
like there should be a time where you don't have to control your champion.
Yeah. I think the like becoming untargetable and attaching yourself to someone is a fine mechanic for an ability. I just think it needs to have like a cooldown period of like you're going like you're in like Kane, right? When he enters someone for an ult. You're inside only for a short amount of time and then you get ejected. Or you could eject early if you want to. So there's like outplay potential there. But once you like get out of that, then you can't just immediately go back in. That there's like significant cooldowns for that. I think that would allow for like strategy and outplay, but especially with turret diving and
I
things
think
like
that
that.
actually makes the champion like really mechanical.
Yeah,
Which I mean, it's fine by me. I'd rather
which
a
it's not at
champion
all
be
right
more
now.
mechanical, but I don't know if that's their plan. I don't know if they want to keep it simple. I don't really know what their plan was with this champion.
I don't know either, man.
They just wanted another enchanter, and then I don't know. I did not expect any of this. I was expecting another shield bot.
I mean, it kind of is.
Does she give a shield? Yes, she
She
does. Because
gives a
they cast
heal
it.
with her
She
E.
gives a heal. But
But a shield bot, you don't have to position.
It's
Like
just
what?
I don't like hate it just because like I hate it if it's on my team, but I don't hate it if it's on the enemy team. I feel like it's I'd rather play against this than a Janna. But I'd rather have a Janna on my team than a Yumi.
Oh, fair.
yeah,
Yeah, totally.
we'll give it a couple of weeks and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean it's early. I don't
I
know.
mean, if the win rate goes up on this because they buff her, like it's not going to be fun to play against an untargetable champion that makes the enemy team like impossible to kill or is able to kill you more easily is not going to be fun.
It depends on the buff because again, it's just if she's just gonna be like AFK, it's gonna be a 2v1.
Yeah.
So with that, then everything lines up on the ADC.
Mm.
So depends what they plan on doing with her.
I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
not too worried.
I think I'd be okay with the E if it's like or the W if it's like if the target Yumi's attached to gets CC'd, like hard CC'd, Yumi
Like
gets
she gets.
ejected.
Oh,
And then it puts
okay.
her W on like a 2 or 3 second cooldown.
That's
But I
not.
think I think she'd need
Okay.
like a lot of love, like value wise. But
Hmm.
I feel like Yumi shouldn't just get to sit in a champion.
I kind of like that idea.
I think it
Yeah.
adds like just more actual gameplay
But
aspect,
the other thing is she has no dash aside from her W like to get away, right? Yeah, she doesn't.
which is
Because she
fine.
can't.
Most
Yeah.
enchanters don't have a dash.
Uh-huh. So
I don't know.
yeah,
There's a lot they can do with it, and there's a lot that they can change. I don't want to call her useless because I think there's like a value in it, but I definitely don't think she's broken. And I don't think it's one of those things where like people just don't understand her. I just think there's not enough in the kit.
Yeah.
all right. So verdict, trash.
Mm,
Verdict wait and see, I think
I
is where
don't
we're
know.
at.
I'm gonna play
Yeah.
it after this episode with you guys mid lane and see how it goes.
You're gonna
Okay.
play a mid lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play jungle actually. It seems super broken.
All right. Astros, why don't you lead the topic for the next one?
Which one do we want to go to next?
What we got? Playing from behind. You want to just do
Playing
that?
from behind. So I've done some like coaching aspects, and this question got asked to me from a couple junglers where it's like, what do you do when you fall behind in the jungle? Um, which is a little bit different of a question than what do you do if you fall behind in a lane. But I think the way you go about it is similar in the aspect that you don't want to just like hemorrhage. Is that what Blake called it? You don't want to start spitting up blood.
Yeah.
Um, I think like stopping the bleeding, I know is what Zill calls it, which is one thing. Um, but kind of like leaning on your team to kind of pick up your slack is just kind of what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, giving up advantages to the enemy, whether you're a jungler or a top laner or AD carry, that in a way that allows like one of your players to get ahead, it's better than just kind of making a god, and turning their person who's getting head into like a super carry in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So what I told him was like, because he was a jungler, he's like, I'm falling behind my lane. Like I'm behind in the 1v1. I can't 1v1 the enemy jungler. He's invading me. It's like, well, in games like that, if you have any winning lane, you need to try and piggyback off of it and get yourself in the game through ganking that lane, whether it's getting an assist, picking up a kill, picking up plates, and kind of using your team as an actual resource and not playing for yourself.
Because you'll be too weak. Like again, like you want to gank that winning lane because you have the best chance, and you're too weak to gank any other lanes. Assuming, right? I don't really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you want to play off your strengths and not off your weaknesses. It's like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm a jungler who's behind and my top laner's behind, I don't want to go and gank top lane because the odds of that gank working are small in
Yep.
most cases.
Yeah.
I know Zoe really likes when his team just hard feeds and doesn't stop the bleeding. So
My
what do you think,
God,
bud?
it fucking tilts me, dude. I don't understand. I like, and this largely has to do with my play style, the kind of champions I play. But I like playing champions that have a better chance late game um, than early, because I feel like a lot of times you can then just try and stall until you reach your ultimate power spike, or you reach the helpful end of your power curve or whatever. Um, and when I see people basically, bet all their cards on one tower dive and like, give a double kill and double buffs to the, enemy assassin jungler, like that means the next 10, 15 minutes of my life is just going to be hell. And I don't understand why people do that. But I think it generally playing from behind for me is I do play really cautiously, and I do so not just because of the power curve of my champion, but a lot of times people who are ahead tend to overplay their hand. They tend to make more mistakes because
Mm-hmm.
they feel like they can. And so if you just give them a lot of room to come after you, especially if they're the aggressive type of player who keeps going after you at every possible moment, eventually they will fuck that up, or eventually their team will not follow them in when they come in to do those sorts of things. And I love turning that on them. That is the prime opportunity I am looking for when it comes to coming back into the game. I think there's a distinction here though between like you being behind as a player in lane versus you being behind as an entire team at a certain phase of the game. I think you were talking more, Astros, to like being behind in lane and figuring out how to play off your other teammates who may not be behind in their lanes, right? To kind of come back into the game. And
Hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm thinking more of it in a broader aspect of like coming from behind as an entire team, which is the whole like stall and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's. I mean, obviously we can have both conversations.
Yeah, sure.
When it comes to coming from behind in like a game, I think it's something that's harder to generally give advice on. It's kind of a game by game thing. It's based on team comp. It's based on enemy team comp. It's more dependent on that when you're talking about a game state than just like a lane state in a way.
Sure. Sure.
Um, so ways to come back, like in one game, it might be if you're one of the people who's even or like slightly behind, creating pressure in a side lane so your team to try and pull the enemy away from 5v5ing might be the best play. Maybe it's grouping because they have a split pusher and you're going to try and get back in the game by picking on him. Um, Trying to make like sneaky, more risky plays. If you're not a team that just scales and turtling isn't the best option. Uh, I think the longer a game goes in general, you have the biggest chance of a comeback. I think that's really the only generalistic kind of piece of advice that you can give because
Yeah, that's how I think of it, and that's how I play, even when there's high scaling enemy champions on the other team. Unless it's like full on Nasus Vigar Vayne, usually stalling a game like that and making a play for Baron is a really good way to come back from a huge deficit.
Yeah, and I think what people are afraid to do when they're behind is to play on the forefront and to be the aggressor in a lot of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've found has actually like helped kind of claw back some games where if you're on the back foot, they kind of expect you to turtle and they don't really expect you to contest or make proactive plays. And sometimes those are like the best things you can do. If you can get your team to make an aggressive, off the map, uh, Baron call, maybe that's what you need. Obviously, Baron is a little more risky than like 5-man grouping on a big minion wave and pushing for 2 turrets and making them either base race you or come and challenge you, and then you can just kind of back off and take what you get.
Getting a pick, I think, is easier sometimes when your whole team is behind because they do tend to act more independently, and like the top laner will just go off by themselves, and then you can just dogpile on top of them and kill them. And like if that's a bounty, that's huge for your team.
Yeah, I think playing from behind, getting those picks is really relying on vision, which you can find to be really, really hard when you're behind. Is
Yes.
you lose a lot of vision, like a lot, um, and just kind of rolling as a group and not as individuals. I think is the best way in general to come back in games. You'll see a lot of people where it's like I see it all the time in the Discord where it's like, I don't know, dude. They'll blame everybody on their team when they lose, when they have a bad game. And I mean, yeah, it happens. You have games where your team loses you the game 100%, but that doesn't mean like no one plays a perfect game of League of Legends, and there's always stuff you could have done that could have changed the tide.
Sure.
So not just kind of pushing your team off as useless and playing as an individual will make you lose more games than it will win you games, especially when you're playing from behind.
Yeah. I do definitely when I'm playing from behind, as far as you're talking about earlier, like playing off your teammates. I try to recognize one which player is like going to be the carry of the game, right? And certainly as an enchanter, my goal is to try and prop them up and give them the ability to carry as much as possible. But secondly, I really look for people who show the in-game psychology of being able to carry, even if they don't necessarily have the champion that is equipped to do it. So just an example is like, say I have a Twitch, right? Like Twitch would primarily be my carry, and I would try and support and prop up him. But if Twitch just doesn't shoot things when he's supposed to be shooting things, then I'm not going to rely on Twitch. He gets maybe 1 or 2 chances at that, and then I'm going to look for someone else to be the person that I have helped carry the game. Perhaps it's my top lane, Urgot or Aurelia or whoever, somebody who can technically carry the game, but maybe is not stereotyped to do it as much as Twitch. Or even the Lee Sin jungle. Like if he is showing the initiative to do all the things that he needs to do to win the game, and everyone else is just slapping their feet together, like I'm gonna try and help the Lee Sin.
Like another thing I think people need to remember when they're behind, like you should expect your team. Somebody will make a comment or blame you, and playing from behind, you need to have that mental fortitude that like, okay, I'm behind, I'm weak as hell. I need to do what I can to get back into the game, and that also includes like ignoring your teammates. If you get a team where like nobody's saying anything, but everyone knows you're behind, that's one of the best things you could ask for because
That
then,
is the best thing.
and then the best way you can do to repay your teammates back is to just make sure you minimize the mistakes, like minimize all your mistakes. Because it's one of the most sad. Like it happened to me today. I was behind in top lane as Camille versus, I think it was yesterday against a Pantheon, right? Because he would just poke me under turret. So I was maybe 45 CS down, and it took about 5-6 minutes to finally get a gank, and then I started coming back in the game slowly and slowly. And by mid game, I was leading the team in fights, right?
Nice.
But nobody in the team said a single thing. right?
Yeah.
So and I knew what I had to do. I had to just farm up, wait for a gank, initiate fights, and like just going all in on this guy.
Yeah.
So it sucks, and it will happen, and it will always happen. There will be a game when you're going to be behind. You just got to have that mental strength to just keep your eye on the prize and hope for the best and play your heart out. And if your team flames you, you gotta mute them. You gotta mute them. If you can't,
I
if you
think if
can't
you
take the heat,
recognize you're being tilted by it, it's important
yeah.
to mute for your own health. But like if it doesn't bother you, like ignoring it is fine. But then a lot of times I'm usually not the one getting flamed, right? But someone else is, and it's like that right there needs to stop because it's gonna tilt my guy who is probably not going to press the mute button, right? But is probably going to want to respond in kind. And I just try to be like, I don't take anyone's side. I don't like try and argue or even type that much. I just be like, it's okay, guys. All we need to do is do this, or don't worry, we're not that far behind. Like things like that, or even just like good job or nice whenever something good happens to that person who's being flamed constantly. Like those kinds of things can really change the psychology of the game. I've had several games that seem like they're on a total downward spiral, but it's just like having that like little bit of positivity can help bring people up from eating themselves off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Or in those games when like you're the guy that's fed, there's another lane that's way behind, and everyone's relying on you, right?
mm-hmm.
So like you should understand there and then like, all right, I need to lead this team, which also means telling them leave, like don't flame this guy, he's gonna come back, right? And then he comes back, and then both of you are leading the team, and then everyone's happy because you get a victory. So like that's the thing everyone should strive for,
Yeah, it's usually like it's like an 0-2 Riven or an 0-3 Aatrox or something, and like they've had a bad lane, like they've made poor decisions because they came out of a bad lane, but like they're still viable. They can still
Mm-hmm.
do hella damage if they just get the right flank, right? And recognizing that and understanding not everything is lost. I don't know. I think on that note too, like Papa Smurf and I were talking about this the other day, but he was saying like the most toxic thing that he's felt like has entered League of Legends recently has been the whole go next mentality. And I feel like that is really cancerous, right? It's like really in everyone's psyche. And like any sort of positivity that you can like inject into the game to keep that from happening will help you win more games. And will help you um, keep come back from being behind.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're targeting me right now with that go next mentality thing.
Yeah, it didn't come from
Astros,
me.
you're reformed, dude.
True, true, true. Um, I mean, I think mental, like in general, is a really large aspect of the game. Something that the other podcasters that I am on this wonderful show with like to flame me for. Um, but
but in a positive way.
mm, I don't know if I want to lie live. I mean, mental in general is a big aspect of the game. It's a big aspect in any kind of team sport where you're not playing solo. Uh, if I let down my team, it's my fault, and I need to do what I can to make it up to them. Just like if someone on my team is dropping the ball, I'd not want them to like just quit and walk off the ice or the field or leave the game, whatever aspect it is. I think just playing it out is the best. Despite me saying GG go next at 2 minutes when I missed 2 CS in the first wave,
But there's memeing though, and then there's like at that crucial point where like at any moment there could be that time to make a Baron call, and yet your jungler is too busy arguing and or saying GG go next in order to like recognize when that moment is about to happen. Like that's what is like they choose the worst fucking time to like let that hit their brain.
I mean, the mental goes boom whenever the mental wants to go boom. Speaking from experience, I don't really have control over when it blows up. Uh, I mean, I've been better at limiting what makes it blow up, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the
I mean,
season of mental.
Yeah, like I'm fucking 33. Like I understand getting mad at stuff and like you can't control your feelings. Like those are impulses that still affect me and have affected me for over a long period of time now. So yeah, it's going to be a constant battle for folks, but you do get better at it, and you do get better at recognizing when those feelings are taking over and try and find a way to mitigate it.
I'm gonna say this, and maybe it's because Taika was saying it before we went live
Mhm.
about NA being the for fun region, and maybe that's why toxicity is a real big deal. Because there's like I watch some EU mid laners because they're just better than NA mids, and like EU is way more toxic, but the skill level is like way higher, and like everyone is playing. You're either playing to win or you leave the game. There's no like half-assing the games that I feel like is in NA. Like the mentality in NA, it's like you play your champion, I'll play mine. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like that's not like good as from a competitive aspect. I think this doesn't really like line up with anything that we planned on talking about tonight, but
That doesn't matter.
yeah, when has Lola ever stayed on topic? It's just like this. I'm just gonna blame the region for why I'm not better,
That's healthy.
cause I don't know. I think people in NA let what people say in game like make their own mental go boom. I understand getting frustrated at an AFK. I understand getting frustrated that like your top is 0 and 3, your jungler's 0 and 4, like any aspect. I understand getting frustrated. I think venting your frustration is better than holding it in, and I don't know why people get mad when other people
Mhm.
vent their frustration. Like, sure, saying fucking uninstall, I wish your mom never had you, stick your fork in an electrical outlet, whatever ponderous sea lion says. I think it's extreme, but I think it's taken too personal. I think that's just like the culture.
Yeah, I disagree. I think words really do affect people. They affect people's mental ability, and like I think you have some sort of responsibility on yourself to not ruin other people's day. Um, it's like what do you see happen when you see people get flamed? Well, they flame back and then they tilt, like they get upset, and that's normal human like reaction. And I feel like we should try to not tilt our teammates. That just seems like the logical response to me.
I don't know,
But I
man.
do
Holding in
I
my
do
anger
understand
tilts me more.
venting frustration is one thing, but like you don't need to take it out on someone else. I think that's where it's unhealthy.
I mean, if
Like
someone like,
I don't have to punch a puppy every time I'm angry to like
Jesus Christ.
but
get
if
this
like,
out of my system,
so
you
say
know?
like, say your landlord just like keeps fucking you, right? Like, say your toilet breaks, he doesn't fix it, you have to fix it yourself. I guess this is a bad example because then you just take
It
legal
is.
actions, but
Right.
like, like if someone pisses you off, are you just gonna like sit there and like kind of take it on the chin?
It depends. I mean, I think like is it actually causing me a death? Can I remove myself from the situation? Like, there's multiple ways to deal with it. Even
All
having a
right, all right.
constructive
I got
conversation.
a better example.
Okay,
All right,
okay,
so
go.
you're in a car, right? You're in
Sure.
this like 45-minute car ride. You're not driving, you're not in the front seat, so you don't have control of the radio, you don't have control of the AC. Um, you're crammed in the back with three other people, and like so there's four in the back.
So just an Uber from hell. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. Like this is super unfun stuff.
Okay.
And like, are you just gonna like sit there and be like, this is fine. I love being stuck in the back three-person seat with four people with the windows up, listening to my least favorite music, and it's hot as balls. Like, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna complain.
I
Sure.
mean, better than
Sure.
walking.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not like
He's not
saying,
quitting the game. He's
yeah,
like, yeah, he's not quitting the
I can
game.
sit in
He's
the
just
car
complaining.
ride and bitch.
Yeah. No, I mean to a certain extent, I think that's fair. I think stick the fork in your electrical outlet stuff is like way over the top and should not be said. But
I mean, I think sticking a fork in an electrical outlet has some comic relief to it. Like if I saw that typed to me in game, I don't think I'd take it at all seriously.
that's the thing about humor, though. It's pretty subjective, and the person who you're telling that to may not be funny. So
No, no, yeah, I know it's subjective, but it's like, is it your fault for saying it, or is it their
I
fault?
think you need to take responsibility for what impact your words have on other people to some degree. Yes, it's why we, aren't like hate speech or yelling bomb on an airplane or whatever is
I
like
think that
bad
stuff is,
ideas, right?
I think that stuff is like the extreme side of it. I think like, I don't know, part of it's probably because we're on a video game with people that are across the country usually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do understand the venting side though. Like I do think like you need to
Like,
have a way to vent your frustration.
yeah, I'm not the kind of guy who's like, uh, maybe I am. But like when I get mad and it's like I tell my jungler to like leave my lane and uninstall, it's just like leave me alone. Let me try and fix this. It's like, oh, it's like when you're in like a group project, right? And
Hmm.
like your group members do something, it's like completely wrong, and it's either like, well, now you have to do all this work to make it up, or do you just like hand it in wrong? You know? Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell them to just like leave me alone, and then I'm gonna fix it. And I'm gonna
Sure.
yell at them as I fix it. But like I'm putting the work in to fix it.
Right.
But I need them to know that they are stupid and I hate them.
No, I do. I mean, I do tell people when they've done something wrong and what they should do instead. I still feel, even if I do that with an attitude, I still feel like there's helpful information in there, right? And like, there's a little bit of leeway for how they take that. They should like be able to be an adult enough to take that feedback. They probably won't, but the next time it happens, it'll stick in their mind. I think.
So,
Um, Go
Zill,
ahead.
what do you do when your 3 and 6 Kaisa ADC who rushed Manamune decides not to group with you guys? What do you tell her then?
She's scaling, leave her alone.
We play follow the Kaisa around is usually what I do, and where
Follow
anywhere
the
where Kaisa wants to go, that's where we go. And if they end up getting Baron or whatever else, like we're with Kaisa, and Kaisa doesn't. That's how I've done that. I've done that with
Mhm.
Trendemir and most hyper carries that think they can just do whatever the fuck they want, and that actually I has ended up being the proper move for me most games.
Well, good for you.
I want to put this out there. I'm not like saying that everyone can just go and say whatever they want in a league game. I
I know
just
you're not saying
I want
that.
people to like think when someone says something, it's like, all right, they're mad. I
You want
fucked
people to have
up.
a little thicker skin, right? Like,
Mhm.
It's not
yeah,
even
I
that.
think that's
Yeah,
fair.
actually, yeah. I mean, I think
That's
people
fair.
should like not be such assholes, and then I think from both ends of it, people need to like come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they're both right and they're both wrong. You know?
There's some onus on both sides. I will.
All right, all right. So I wanted to go into this last topic. I think it pertains to kind of Tycho. So I,
Oh,
I
okay.
wanna I wanna hear his
Now I
thoughts
want
on
to.
it. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
And then I wanna go because I think like the other echelon kind of fits into um me usually. Maybe not so much this season, but me
It can work.
in past seasons. I want to talk
Hmm.
about like overplaying versus underplaying. Um, kind of outcomes when you do either or, and uh, what's kind of the healthy middle ground. So as we kind of stated, Tycho has a lot of games this season. He
So,
has he has. Let me,
the,
I'm op.gng in this, so I don't get it wrong. He's got quick math, like
3,
373 games.
and it's how long has the season been out? I think it's been out 4 months now. 5 months?
I don't know.
Yeah, something like
I don't
that.
know. He's got a lot of games this season.
I do have a lot of games. Okay, all right. So I think last season as well. I think I
You played.
1600,
I
fourteen
mean,
hundred.
yeah, you play a lot of games, which
I do play a lot of games. Okay, so this is kind of back to like honestly that comment I made earlier about like the for fun region. It's a little bit true because so my when I go to I play ranked one because I will get the competitive aspect I'm looking for when I'm playing league. It's the only reason why I play this game because it's competitive, right? I don't play normals
Mhm.
or ARAM unless I'm detilting something.
Right.
So my first thing, I do want to win. I don't want to lose, right? I'm not going to play a champion that I don't want to play. So, but I don't always focus on the key things in order to get to the next level. I will 100% admit that. There are some games or some days where I'm just like, I'm on point. Like, yo, I'm going to make no mistakes. I want to climb today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some days where that's not my first thought. My first thought is to like, just like win lane hard or just like I don't know, work on my farm and stuff. I don't focus on this on the important things in order to get to the next level. So that's why I'll get a bunch of losses, right? There's I've had games this season, a good amount where it's been on me, right? There's a good amount where it's been on my teammates, right?
hmm
So I do think I overplay sometimes and I get into this autopilot mode, which is
Yeah.
something we've talked about before. And it's bad, right?
Yeah. I
Um
get it though.
yeah, and one thing I've noticed is like every season I have gotten at least 1,000 games, right? And it took me. I only got plat maybe 2 seasons ago or last season, I believe.
you hit it
Mm-hmm.
season 7.
End of season 7, right? And every single time, I'll take forever to kind of get into this, to kind of get that skill set. So like, I can right now I can stay in plat. If I fall down to gold, I'll get back to plat. I won't have much issue, right? But I'll have an issue getting to diamond. And then once I get to diamond, it'll take a while for me to reach to kind of like engraved in my mind the skill sets needed to stay in diamond, and that's why I'm overplaying so many games because I'm not trying to reduce the amount of games needed in order to get those skills engraved in my mind because I'm kind of just like going with the flow of playing, right? Which is bad. I
Mm-hmm.
get that. I 100% get that. And there's a lot of other factors like I was in school or like it's not the league is not like the very first thing in my mind that I want to like truly succeed in, right?
Yeah.
But if league is something you sincerely care about and you just want to get the highest rank as possible, just don't do what I do. Don't overplay. Don't be on autopilot every game because I do it a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If your primary goal is to rank up, I don't play ranked mindlessly. Sure, be
Mhm.
engaged. That makes sense.
Because
At
yeah,
the same time, though, like I think you enjoyed most of your time doing that, right? You probably
yeah,
would have continued to play League had you had the chance to do the time over, right?
yeah,
Um,
100%.
so like I don't think it's necessarily like you've wasted
Yeah,
everything. You even when you're like passively doing stuff, there's still stuff to take away from it.
yeah, and I'm not. It kind of sounds a little bit contradictory. I'm not trying. I'm trying to win the game, but I'm not trying my hardest every time.
Right, and you're not focusing on ways you can improve, which is
Yeah,
like the main thing
yeah.
we keep telling people to do, right?
You're not
Is to like,
min-maxing.
yeah,
No, what?
You're not min-maxing. You're not.
Min maxing?
Yeah, you're
it's
not.
not min maxing.
You're not min-maxing. So in like
D&D,
those,
right?
yeah, D&D, uh,
Any RPG.
World of Warcraft. Yeah,
I
you're
don't.
not
I've
you're
never
not
played any.
maxing your stats as high as they can go for every situation.
Mm-hmm.
You're not playing
Okay.
optimal builds or whatever.
Like, and I think the main topic is I don't think like obviously almost 400 games. It's not like a crazy amount this season. Um, and there's not like a set number that makes it to where like if you play this much in this amount of time, you're overplaying, and if you're not playing this much in this amount of time, you're underplaying. I think it varies person to person because I'll bring up another person in the Discord. Immoral, he has more games than you. He has over 400 games, but he's got a really good win rate, and he doesn't dip as hard as you have. Like you dropped from
I think I
plat to
dropped
gold.
G3.
You
Yeah.
drop it says gold too, but
Okay.
and like yeah, you made it back up, which is great. Obviously dips happen. Maybe the loss streak wasn't your fault. Like whatever it is, um, he dips, he goes back up, and then he always seems to to continue. Whereas like I wouldn't say he's overplaying unless until he starts typing in chat that his mental's boom, and then he's overplaying. Like I joined a duo, the one duo channel when you were playing with Ashley, and you guys were losing, and you made me feel like good about how in control of my mental I've been. Like you just weren't having fun. And
Okay.
it seems
I was like, was that
All
a
right,
compliment?
all
Oh
right.
wait.
So listen. So okay, believe it or not. Okay, so when I play with anybody in this Discord, it's not the same as it is when I play with like by myself or anybody else. Like I'm
no,
not
obviously.
usually like that. So it might have been me a little bit like acting a little bit. I did play like
Maybe.
shit. I did play like shit. And I was a little bit mad, but not so much that like I wanted to like fuck this game. I'm
I've never
fucking
heard
pissed
you
off.
rage,
No,
Techno.
no, and
Yeah, I've
I'm not
never
saying
yeah.
that's what it was like. I just think based off of like performance, when you start seeing like really big dips in your gameplay, it's usually when you're overplaying
Mm-hmm.
or it's when you're underplaying. Like right now, I took a little bit of a break once I hit plateau, and I came back and I went what 2-9, 2-8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went 2-7, and it's like, well, I took almost a week off, and I was underplaying. I think when you look at those like big dips in like performance is usually when you're at that cusp of overplaying versus underplaying. And part of it's time, and obviously if you're not playing to become the best player in the region or the best player in the world or out of your friend group, it doesn't really matter. The game it is a game at the end of the day. Playing for fun is part of it. Um, I just see like a lot of people who've come to me where it's like I haven't really seen that person who's come asking for coaching who's had that kind of like that like sweet spot where it's like they either have like 30 games this season or they have like 300 games this season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And granted, maybe it's me looking from the outside in and it looks like they're overplaying or underplaying, or maybe that's their like perfect amount. It's something that you just kind of have to feel for yourself.
So Immoral just messaged me and he just told me that he heard your thing about the overplaying. He does agree. He's 100% overplaying. Like he says he does the same thing as me where he autopilots and he doesn't play his fullest like some games or some days. And like his reason is that he gets bored playing the same two champs over and over again,
Hmm.
which like if you have a small champ pool, like it's best to climb. And that's the same thing for me. Like I sometimes get bored playing the same champions.
I don't even know if that comes into overplaying versus underplaying. Like, because I mean, I play a lot of champions on my main. I have 4 or 5 that I'll play in mid alone, and then like 3 I'll play in jungle. Um, I don't know if it's like a champion thing. I think a moral based off of his games from my perspective. I think the only time I would say that he's overplaying is when he comes in the Discord like at 12 o'clock complains about his team and then comes in at 1:30 to complain about his team and then 3:30 to complain about his team. Then it's like take a break, dude. Like reset. You're getting unlucky. I mean, like it's not like he's dropping like a ton of games. Obviously, he might have a higher win rate if he had less games and he was playing more optimally. Um, Granted, I'm just looking at stats, so I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at numbers. I can only depict so much from it, but I think every person's different.
Yeah. You know, as long as you're having fun, right, Sil?
That's right. No, actually, it's the other way around. As long as the enemy is fun,
As long as the enemy's not having fun or having fun.
that's not having fun. I play this game so that my opponents will.
And people
Not
like
figured that out
calling me
yet.
toxic. I just don't understand.
You used to be
I've
toxic.
reiterated this constantly, and then people don't see. Yeah, that's how I enjoy things.
I'm not toxic, no way. Never have been. I'm literally a ray of sunshine.
A ray of sun. Trust me.
You are the face of reform. Forget Tyler.
Honestly, I'll prove it. I'm gonna
Lol.
become the most high. I'm gonna reach honor level 5 before everyone.
Oh, you're on, man.
Okay, I'm already um 0 check level 5, but I'm level 4. Easy enough.
I mean, I'm full checkpoint level 3. So,
Same.
all right. Well,
Oh,
fuck you
it doesn't
guys.
show other people's level.
I
Yeah,
don't think so.
it doesn't. I just tried looking at yours.
Ha. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Does anyone have any announcements?
Um,
No. Other than if you're new, we got community games Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time. Just come on into the LOLA Discord, and we'll hook you up with some peeps for 5v5.
mm-hmm. We have a coaching channel for coaching requests. I wouldn't recommend me, but it's there.
I wouldn't recommend Tycho either. No, I've had a couple people ask me. I was super busy like this week and last week, but I have some catching up to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if you don't want to run Smite, or if you run Smite and no Flash, go to Zill for coaching.
If you want to do something weird, yeah, come see me.
If you're into weird
Oh,
shit, talk to Zill.
If you're into weird shit, talk to me. I got you covered.
Immoral wants to say that we have in-houses tonight.
We don't
Right
have
now, people.
in-houses tonight.
He's been sending an invite this
I
entire
think
time.
I
There's
think
like
Yumi
10
Jungle
people.
is the only thing.
Yeah, I don't really want to play in-house. I do want to play a game though, so
Yeah, he wants to play that mid lane Yumi.
Sweet. Well, let's wrap this up.
all right.
All right, well, Zell closes out.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. We're gonna go play games. See y'all later.
Later.